as our database, okay? And specifically, Postgres has connection pool mechanism. That's what this PG bouncer is. So it has a connection pool, and our middleware application talks to that connection pool, and that's how we're able to store data, okay? So so we've done that. So we added a database since the last time we talked. We built a Helm chart. Okay. We've added pagination support. That is, if we're pulling data from the front end, we wanted the middleware application to be able to support pagination in the sense that when we feed large sets of data to a front end, we can send it in chunks, right? We can send them in pages. So there will be page 1, page 2, page 3, all the way up to how many, as much as data we have. So think about it as endless scroll, okay? So you're scrolling, you're pulling data, but you're pulling it in chunks so you don't overwhelm the network, and you do not overwhelm the front end application, and you do not overwhelm the back end. And so what you're doing is you throttle your data feed, right? So throttling is how you manage chaos. So you give one page, and then when the customer or the user want, you give another page. So we've added pagination support, okay, since the last time we talked. We added that to the middleware application and all our front-end applications, okay? So that's basically the recap, okay? So now what I want to do is to show the details of our middleware application, okay? So we're using Graphene, okay, to support pagination. And what I want to do, I want to go through these files that make up the middleware application and just basically just talk about them. So get a sense of like what these files are, what's in there, and what do they do. So we're gonna start with this folder here called Jannah site, okay? Because that's the main gut of the Jannah application, right? So in Jannah site, there's a models file. Okay, let's open that file. Okay. So what I want to do, let me open this side to side. I'll open this on the side. Okay. Okay. So this is our models file. So in the Django world, your models file is basically your data structure, right? So it's the main hub for your data structure. It's basically where you define the models or the structures that make up your application. Okay. So let's get into that. Let me play a little bit of music in the background while that's happening. Okay. So in our models.py file, the first model you see here is a site model. Okay. So this site model represent a Jannah installation, right? So let's say we have customer A, customer B, customer C. Each one of those customer will be a Jannah site. Okay, so that's what this model is. And as I mentioned in the previous video, our models start simple. Over time, they're gonna grow. They'll get a little bit more complicated as the requirements are demanded. Okay. So there's a site model. Okay. It's a simple model right now. So the site model is a subclass of the Django model. Okay. There is a user model. Okay. This user model models a user on the Jannah website. Okay, on the Jannah app. So admin users. So whatever type of user you would have to log into the website or the application, this is a model of that user. Okay. Next, after the user model is the boot model. Okay. Essentially, Jannah is a model of the software stack. So what Jannah says, what is your software stack? From the boot to network to storage to compute to user and feedback. So boot layer represent everything we boot in the Jannah infrastructure, right? So every script we run, every app we run, as far as it's starting some servers, we consider that a boot. Okay? These two will get complicated over time. After the boot model comes our networking model. So we're moving up the stack, right? We boot, then we network. Okay? First you gotta come alive, then you gotta connect. Okay? So the network model comes after the boot model. Okay? After the network model comes the storage model. Okay? So this is here as the storage model. Okay? After the storage model comes compute. What is the storage model first before I go into compute? Excuse me. So basically, storage model is databases, cache, right? So anytime we save data in the name of persisting the data, we're basically calling that storage, right? So, okay. So after the storage model comes the compute model, okay? So the compute model is basically computing algorithms. This is basically logic, right? So we model the logical layer of our infrastructure, right? And that's what we call the Jannah compute, right? So every algorithm, every logic, as far as business logic, this is where we capture that and we model it, okay? After the compute model comes the UX model. Okay, so what we mean by UX model is every interaction the system have with users, right? So anytime a user is scrolling on something, anytime a user is typing on a terminal somewhere, anytime the machine face a human being, that's a UX environment. So we have a model to represent activities or events in that realm. Okay? Okay. After the UX model comes the feedback model. Okay? Feedback, like I said in a previous video, is comments from users, help desk tickets. Basically, what did the users say about us, about our system and our application, our infrastructure? So that is what we call the feedback model. Okay? And then we have what we call the workflow model, which I had mentioned again. So now this is just more, we're getting into the detail side. This is where we basically capture all the models. Okay, the workflow model is the model. Think about it as a meta model